Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Merca Guns and Freedom podcast. We call it a podcast, even though I don't post it anywhere because I don't know how, but you know, is what it is. But welcome. And as usual, this is just an open chat between me and my viewers. It's kind of like a call-in show, although you don't have to have a phone. You can send me questions via email. shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com. You can put questions in the live chat. Just put at the Yankee Marshal in front of them. You can send in questions via the link here at the top, the Phil Tithe P&V Super Chat and Giveaway link, where you can donate in Phil's name to the Pets and Vets program and also get entries into giveaways like the SRKC that we're giving away, a brand new one today from Cold Steel Knives. We'll be giving this away. Still got the oil on the blade. So you can get entered into things like that, the silver bullet drawing, etc., by doing a donation in Phil's name via the PayPal link at the top of $5 or more. We'll do the drawing for the knife at the end of the chat, by the way. So feel free to send in whatever questions you want to send. What was I going to say? I got a notification that distracted me. So feel free to ask whatever questions you want to ask and send in whatever topics you want to send in. Send pictures if you want to share them with the group, whatever. We'll get to every question, hopefully. I'll try to answer every question, at least, the ones I do see. If there's a technical question and I can't answer it, just pay attention to the live chat. Somebody will know the answer. The people in there know more than me about a lot of stuff, so pay attention. Not only pay attention, but participate, build a sense of community. It's one of the reasons we do this. So it's like a little get together an hour every day for people to come and have conversations they wouldn't normally get to have. So take advantage of it. Converse amongst yourselves. But if you're talking to me, put at the Yankee Marshal in front of it so I'll see it. With that being said, I like to always start the chat by reading if we've had any orders over the last 24 hours to help support TYMP or Handguns for Heroes. We have not. There is one order there, but it's for Chris Jones. Where I sent him his t-shirt he won last night. So nothing over there. While we're talking about merchandise, if you want some merchandise like the Guns Don't Kill People, the government does, or hundreds or dozens and dozens of other designs, going over my website, tympistolproject.com. There's a link on that page where you can go to my Shopify account, buy whatever pro gun merch you want over there, and it supports TYMP and Handguns for Heroes. You can also become a Subscribe Star supporter or a Patreon supporter over there. You can get patches that you can't get anywhere else, like these here, like the Mouse Guns Mickey Mouse patch, the Turnips K9 K9 unit corporal patch, and the sergeant patch is coming soon. Also got deputy patches, etc. over there. So become a supporter on Subscribe Star or Patreon. Become part of the actual posse. Help support the channel and the programs we run that help animals and veterans and just everyday people too with some of our programs. So go on over there and do that. Also, remember this channel is restricted. So if you want to keep up with the channel, make sure you subscribe. Especially right now because I'm losing subscribers like crazy because I dared challenge Herr Trump by saying he was wrong on guns and marijuana. So now all the Trumpers are jumping ship again. See, I get rid of all of them and then they build back up. And then I get rid of a bunch of them and they build back up. Because I don't like the people who blindly follow leaders on either side. Although it doesn't seem to be as big a problem on the other side. The left's always fighting with each other. They aren't usually like, this is our leader and he's always right. They're always like, he used the wrong pronoun. I don't want him to be the leader anymore. Or I don't like the way he said that word. You know, they don't as engage in as much hero worship, I don't think, as the right does for some reason. Why's my phone getting hot in my pocket? It's coming on and getting hot. Where was I at? Oh, yeah, I was saying this was a restricted channel. So if you want to follow us, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there, that join, and also click on that little bell and select all notifications. If you don't select all, you'll get none. So select all. You can also go over to my page on YouTube and do it through there. And then make sure you have turned on your channel too, so that you can get it. And links to both those are in the upper corner. I think it's right here. I'm not sticking my finger up the Sasquatch, but I'm pointing at the link. So going over there. Not that I wouldn't stick my finger up a Sasquatch butt if I was given the opportunity, as a joke, you know, like Goose the Sasquatch. But now, with that all being said, let's get on to the questions. See if we got anything coming in. All right, let's get over here. My ordeal with the car is almost done. So yay for that. Let's see, where are we at? Don't got to go down too far. Today's the 25th, right? So Jeffrey Vaughn weighed in, paid his $2 tithe to Phil so that he don't get Lyme disease. And remember, if you're out there right now watching this and you ain't paid your $2 tithe to Phil, pay it, or you're going to get Lyme disease. And in fact, right now, like I said, we're running a special to where we guarantee that if you pay your $2 tithe and you get Lyme disease between now and the next time we see you, you'll get your money back. Maybe minus a service fee, but you'll get your money back. So that is actually, I guess, less of a special than it is, you know, extortion, saying that if you don't pay your $2 tithe, you'll be sorry. So just pay it. It's $2. Go over, sign up for $2 a month on Patreon. It's $2 a month, and you're helping animals and veterans. You're making me not have so much stress. My hand's been numb all day. I don't know if I'm having a stroke or I pinched a nerve. Or maybe a heart attack. I don't know. I'm married to a nurse, and they didn't seem too concerned when I told them, but that don't mean much. I'm like, my hand's numb. Maybe you pinched a nerve. I was getting upset today. My whole left hand went numb. It's still kind of numb. It's just numb like on these fingers on this side. It's kind of like how my foot is. My feet are like that on my big toes, on the insides of my feet from wearing combat boots. It damages the nerves, and they never came back fully. But he asked, I just went off on a tangent there. He asked, Ruger Super Red Hawk or Taurus Raging Series? Well, I like the Ruger Red Hawks better. And the Super Red Hawks are impressive. So I'm going to say the Rugers. Taurus, I'm not going to say anything bad about the Taurus, but I'm going to say I'm going to choose the Ruger. I've had some of the Raging series. Now, there's a few of the Raging series over there that you can't really get something in the Taurus that's the Ruger that's the same. You know, like that one that takes shot shells and the 460s and, you know, all that other 454 or whatever. With the Raging Magnum thing. I had one of those and it was awesome, but I traded it off to get a gun that I shouldn't even own because I don't even like it and I don't know why I bought it. The damn, what do you call them? Those 2011s. I'm like, they're the biggest scam in the gun world. Why am I fucking buying that? I don't know. I don't, everything I do, not everything I do makes sense. Let's just say that. Sometimes I do stuff, it don't make sense. Have I made any sense during this chat so far? Not really. So there you go. Lucas Imes weighed in and says, D&D, Dunkley Osteus, and Dakota Raptor, let's fuck, wait, no, fight. Oh, he made me say a swear. Let's fight. I find you delectable, detestable. Let's fight because I find you detestable. Yes, that. Like I said the first time I read that, I feel like I have been sexually violated for some reason. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that's what's happening. Johnny Mandrick chimed in and said, should Chiapa rhinos have a decocker, and are they still making guns? I assume they're still making guns. I hope they're still making guns. That's a great gun. Of course, now they import most of their stuff from Turkey and just, you know, remarket it. But the Chiapa Rhino is the one gun I know that's all theirs, and I hope they're still making it. I haven't been to SHOT Show in a while, so I haven't talked to them. But yeah, I hope so. But as far as it having a decocker, I mean, no and yes. I mean, it could, because, you know, you don't see it ever cocked. Even if you cock it, you can't look at it and see the hammer's back and it's cocked, because that's just a cocking mechanism. The hammer is internal. So when you cock that hammer back, it goes back forward, especially on the small ones, the snubbies, because it's actually the back sight. It's got a notch in it. So it has to go back forward. That's why it's got that little dog dick thing on there. You know, it pops up, looks like it's very happy to see you. The little pop rocket or whatever you call it there, red rocket, that lets you know it's cocked. So you know if you want to decock it, you have to decock it the old-fashioned way. You have to pull that hammer back, that cocking mechanism, pull the trigger, and then slowly lower it. Just how you have to decock any revolver. So I don't think it needs one because it functions exactly like a revolver. But I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever if it had one. It would actually kind of make sense because if you looked at it, it would make it safer than a regular revolver. Because if you looked at it, let's say it's got the little button up and the little red rocket's up and you're like, oh, it's cocked. This is in single action. Trigger's back, the little red button's up. And if you had like a little button on the side that you could either depress or slide up and down or something, just like slide down and it decocked it, I can't see how that would be a bad thing. Seems like it'd be a good thing to me. Maybe just make it into the cylinder release because, you can't release the cylinder when the gun's cocked. So maybe you push it once, it decocks it, and then you can push it again and release the cylinder. Now that would be nice. That right there is a good idea. I'm glad I thought of that. So, but yeah, that was a good question. I have to think about that. Jason Thompson chimed in and said, I sent you an interesting video from Here's the Deal, and there's an increase in cops getting ambushed here in America. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why. They're not making friends with the people, that's for sure. Sean Bain chimed in here and said, Yankee, these are the calibers I can shoot without pain issues in my hand. 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum, 32 ACP, 380 in full size, 9mm in full size, and 45 ACP and 45 Colt. Which ones should I concentrate on? Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but probably 9mm. Because it seems to be the round of the decade. It's the round of the century, I probably. So I'd probably concentrate on full-size 9mm because you can get a lot of revolvers in 9mm. So you can even get revolvers in 9mm, semi-autos in 9mm. If I was going to focus on one of those calibers, I like 45 Colt best of the bunch, but I'm going to say out of that bunch, I would focus on 9mm. Because, 380, you can get some decent sized full-size guns, but mostly they're going to be smaller guns. And your options for revolvers is going to be less. So I'm going to say the 9mm because it just opens up so many options in so many platforms. It's just the way to go. And you can get 9mm loaded down to about 380. Pretty much. Like that Hornady that's got the little pink ribbon on it, that stuff doesn't recoil at all. So I'm surprised it actually cycles the gun. So yeah, 9mm. In this case, as much as I hate to say it, 9mm would be the way to go. I'm going to be kind of mad at you now for making me say that. Ooh. But it's one of those situations like if you're going to be raped by a bear or possum, which one do you want to get raped by? It's not a good answer or a good thing either way, but one's the best option. Now we got Sean Coleman. Sean Cole, 2 Seans in a row, and it's both the AWN Seans, not the SEAN Seans. No scenes. There's not a scene to be seen, or Sean to be seen, I should say. Or there's 2 Seans, but not one of the scenes. Do you know anything about the permit requirement for gun purchases in Washington? Also, shirt idea, make calibers great again. Picture of 38 Super and 9mm being deported by 357 Mag. Well, 9mm, well, it could go back to Europe, but it's been here since the beginning. I think it's more of a founder. The 38 Super, yes, definitely needs to be deported back to Mexico. I do still need to draw that shirt, but I haven't got around to it. I don't know much about the requirements to purchase. It's pretty much like how now you have to take that class. You'll have to take that class ever so often to keep buying because, you might have done something bad since the last time, I guess. and that class will tell them. I don't know. You're going through a background check every time anyway, so what's the class going to fucking tell them? And that's not going to hold water. It's not going to last. Once it goes into effect, it's going to get stays on it, I'm pretty sure. At least I'm hopeful. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We'll see how well what that does for us, but I'm trying. KCC Rat chimed in here and said, I rescued a kitty and he is costing me all my gun money. Please send free guns to fill the gap the cat is creating in my funds. And that's not how it works. My kids and my pets are cutting into my funds. Nobody sends me free guns. Well, I mean, I have had a free gun or two in my day, and I usually turn them down. The only time I'll even accept a free gun from a manufacturer is if they're okay with me auctioning it off for animal charities afterwards. Because as you know, pretty much everyone I've gotten, the Mako, what was that thing, the Burno, all those, I auctioned them off. I was like, well, we'll raise money for pets and vets with these. And sometimes even for fur friends. But yeah, I not sending you nothing. That's what I'm saying. Unless you get nominated for Handguns for Heroes and you win, or then you can get. Then I'll send you a special gun. Haven't decided what we're going to do yet. Should I do it? Should I do a Glock, or should I do like it'd be more cost effective, and I'd be able to get extra slides easier if I fuck one up. If we did like a Palmetto State, like put together a really cool one, engrave the Handguns for Heroes on the top of the slide for everyone, and then put proudly presented to and put their name on the sides. I think that would be very cool. But what do I know? I'm kind of stupid. Johnny Mandrick chimed in again here and said, should we remind the NRA to rise up against a tyrannical government? They seem to have forgotten or not noticed. Yeah, they do seem to have forgotten. It's like if a Republican governor had called out the National Guard to enforce the law in a city, the NRA would be there screaming in the streets if they can make money off of it, of course. Seems like they're ignoring it in D.C. And whether you agree with what Trump's doing or not, or you think it's justified or not, you have to admit it's the exact kind of thing that the NRA should be against. But they don't seem to be. The talking heads on YouTube don't seem to be against it. Oh, they're talking about how, the Trump administration is bringing back gun rights to D.C. while they're living in a police state because they're trying to distract from that. Janine Pereiro says they're not going to charge people with felonies. Those people they took their guns and shotguns, rifles and shotguns from, which they've seized them from like 80 people in the last month. We're not going to charge them with felonies. And doesn't that sound good when we don't add the fact that, we actually seized them illegally, and there's nothing we can really charge them with. In the past, they used to just charge them for having them because that was the law back then. It's not the law now. And you just seized them illegally and you got nothing you can charge them with. So they're like, we're going to stop that precedent. You mean after the law changed? It's bullshit how people are being so easily duped. But all the Trump lovers, that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, because some retarded Down syndrome looking motherfucker on YouTube tells them that. Where was I at? What was I talking about? Today's been the day of rants. Like I said, I'm sleep deprived. Did I tell you all that? I slept 3 hours night before last. I slept like 3 hours a little over last night. Been having to get up early to deal with people that are, out of state to try to order parts and stuff for the car. I finally just took it out, the part out completely, and made sure what the numbers were. Turns out they don't make the parts anymore. The number here, I'll share the picture. Just a little conversation here because why not? That's what I've been doing most of the chat. But this is the part I took out, the clock spring, and this is the steering wheel position sensor, the angle sensor. This is a pain in the ass to get out, by the way. I got that out. And of course, you got to tear the entire steering wheel out and everything else out of here to get it out. So been dealing with that, and it's been a pain in my ass, but I think I'm through the worst of it now, and I think the actual parts we need are on the way, because the part number you look up is different than the part number you can buy, and it's because the part number you can buy it isn't the same part number that they used to use, because they discontinued the old part number. Now they have a new part number that goes in more things, but it's just all very confusing. And then there's some sources say that, oh, in the 2009, the steering position sensor is built into the clock spring. And then there's others that say, no, people say that, but it's not true. So I didn't know who to listen to. I asked to chat GPT twice. It gave me 2 different answers. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what's going on. I usually don't. Clinton Barella. You can stand under my umbrella. I said, if Clinton, Obama, Biden tried this, would they be okay with? Oh, God, no. Would they be scrambling for a way that this is just okay? No, they would not. If Biden had done this, if Biden had brought the National Guard into the Washington, D.C. and had them taking over the police department and pointing one of his people, like if he had pointed, Vice President Kamala Harris in charge of the D.C. police, oh my God, the right wing would be they would be shitting their balls out their ass. They'd be so upset. But instead, now they've just handed their balls over to the MAGA people. And it's sad, as someone who doesn't worship at the altar of Trump or any politician, it's so sad to see people on both sides duped by it, especially on the side that I count on to fight for our gun rights. Are we supposed to really believe people will fight for our gun rights? Are we supposed to believe that? Or are we supposed to believe what we see? That if President Trump tomorrow said, hey, I'm going to outlaw the Second Amendment, but it's part of my plan, just go with it. President Trump's got a plan. Here's my guns. Where was I? Micah D chimed in and says, for a stab at the knife. Don't say stab with the knife. I already cut myself with like 4 of them. I always have a Band-Aid on my finger because of it. The blood blisters, the blood marks that I had on my thumb have finally gone away. That fell out yesterday. Scraped out while I was working on the car. Kevin Payton chimed in, paid his $2 tithe to Phil so he don't get Lyme disease, and said, hail, Phil, from your experience, which snubby shoots best and most on target? Pretty much all the snubbies are accurate. If you can shoot it straight, it'll hit its target. Now, it's not a long range accurate. It's not like at 100 yards, you're not going to be shooting bullseye with it, but it's going to be pretty good at 30 yards if you can shoot it. It's more about being able to properly manipulate the gun, having decent sights on the gun, being able to use those sights, because it is a snubby and the sight radius is shorter, while the sights are going to be less useful overall because they're not going to be as accurate, any slight variance. So if you can actually line the sights up and you can properly physically manipulate the gun, they're all going to be very similar as far as accuracy. That's why it's so important that you find one that has the easiest trigger, because that's going to contribute to being able to shoot it accurately. One that has a nice single action feature, if you want that to be able to shoot it accurately. One that has a grip that when you have your hands on it, you're not tripping over yourself. Your own fingers aren't getting in your way. You ever held a gun and you can't even hardly pull the trigger because your own hand is in the way of your trigger finger? That's a big problem with little tiny guns. So if you can properly physically manipulate the gun, you can properly sight the sights. You can properly adjust for knowing those sights are not going to be super accurate, and you know your gun. Well, then you're going to shoot them all pretty much the same, if assuming they have the same type trigger. It's like same weight, same smoothness, etc. I think the Ruger trigger is amazing. The Ruger LCRX, the trigger on that gun is awesome for a little snubby gun. Of course, so are the Performance Center Smith & Wessons. The Kimber trigger on the Kimber K6S, that trigger's awesome. shoots amazing. The double action, single action gun, amazing. So if I had to choose one, it's probably going to be the Ruger LCRX or the Kimber K6S double action, single action. That's where you're going to get your most accurate shots from, I think, because of a combination of good triggers and available grips to hold on to it. Because the Ruger's got 3-finger grips, etc. So that gives it a little leg up. The Kimber's also got some 3-finger grips and stuff, not as much of variety as the Ruger does. But, you know, you get a Ruger LCRX, kind of like same size as my little 360 I have right there. Put a 3-finger grip on it like that one has. You got a little gun you can manipulate easily. So I think it's got more to do with trigger and being able to hold on to it than it does inherent accuracy of those little snubbies. Mike Santorsola also paid his $2 tithe so that he don't get Lyme disease, and says, "Hi, Yankee Marshall. Can you recommend a laser training system for my Ruger Super Red Hawk, 2.5-inch 454 and HK USP 45?" Well, the good thing about the HK USP in that double action hammer fired, so you can just get one of those little bullets that I have, and they come with, you can get different collars to put on them, to put them in your gun. Those are awesome. You just click, click, click. I do it with my Beretta all the time. Play with the little laser sight with my Beretta. And lately I've been playing with it with my Shadow 2 carry. So those are awesome. When you get to revolvers, it's a little harder because, you know, unless you buy 6 of the little laser bullets, you got to constantly go back to the round, which you can do. I mean, you can just click, turn, click, turn, click, and practice. But it kind of, when it comes to revolvers, it's harder to get a laser system. Now they do make ones, you know, like you put in a barrel and stuff, and it's like a game and stuff. But the problem with those is I've never found one that like stays well. You know, they got the little rubber things and stuff, but never liked one. Never found one I liked. Let's see. That was Mike Santorsola. Santa Cola. Then we got Kevin Payton, paid his $2 tithe to Phil. And he said, "Beat J-Frame the Snubby." I meant, what? Beat J-Frame the Snubby. What does that mean? What did he say last time? Let's see. What's he adding to? From your experience, which snubby shoots best and most on target? Well, I answered that. I didn't need that. You don't need to add nothing about the snubby, because I don't think the newer Smith snubbies, like the performance centers and the stuff like that, they're amazing. 360 PD, those things are easy to shoot. Now they're very light, snappy, and you might anticipate that recoil, but otherwise they're pretty good. Samuel White said, "Bob Kitty Silver knife, please. Thanks again." Bob, I think he's getting entries into getting an entry into the drawings is what he means there. That was Samuel White. Then we got Tim Moeller, also trying not to get Lyme disease here. And he said, "Now that the precedent has been set, I can see a president, AOC or similar, defunding the offices that actually perform the gun background checks or give oil drilling permits, etc." Well, they wouldn't do that with the oil drilling permits because, you know, all the companies that want the permits are going to get them. You know how many unused permits there are right now? There's no shortage of permits. They get them all the time and they don't even use them because it's just not feasible and blah, blah, blah. But that's the powers that be, the billionaires. They're not going to stop them from getting nothing. Now, not funding the ATF and stuff like that, and the FBI's background check systems, I can see them doing that in a minute, or keep firing the people that are in charge of it, so that they have to keep shuffling in new people and have delays and stuff. Yeah, I don't see that being beyond the pale. Let's just say that. Let's see. Are we with the live chats, with the super chats now? I do believe we are. That was Tim Moeller. Yes, that was the last one over there. Let me go see if we got any emails coming in I need to share, and then we'll move over to the live chat. Get away from me, fly. You're getting on my nerves. Don't make me be a bad guy. Let's see here. This one, I don't know what this is about, but someone named Brandon Austin, who spells his name with a Y, so I assume he's a douchebag, says, look at the picture of my cock. And then he says, stop staring at my cock. And then he sent this. I don't know what he's doing. He's having fun, though, it looks like, whatever he's doing. That's from today. But what modern technology can do. I remember back when if you took a picture of anything, you had to take it and drop it off at a place that developed film and wait for like 2 weeks to get it back. And then half of them were blurry. Although in high school, I started developing my own film, so I didn't have to do that. But because we had a dark room up in the art room, and I spent most of my time up there. I was always working on the newspaper because I was the sports photographer and stuff, and I was also one of the editors and layout people for the newspaper, or I was developing pictures and stuff for art class. I didn't go to class a lot my last 2 years of school. I had enough credits to graduate by the time I started my junior year. I had enough credits to graduate. So I only had to take the prerequisite classes, which were there's 3 prerequisites: your math prerequisite, your English prerequisite, and what's the other one? History? Is it history? No. Yeah, it might have been history. So I was lucky. The art teacher was also the history teacher, so he let me test out of my classes, and his niece was my English teacher. She let me test out of my classes. Now, I liked the math classes, so I went to them, but that's about it. The rest of the time, my junior and senior year, I was working on yearbook. I was working on the newspaper. I was working on stuff, like art related, or I was going over to Rio Grande for community college classes, being bussed over there. So my last 2 years of school, people who say, I hated high school, I'm like, I fucking loved high school. It was awesome. It was the best time of my life, I think, which is bad because that means I peaked in high school. I'm sad now. Now I'm very, very sad. Let me see. We got any more emails over here? We got one about the fat people on the plane. I don't think y'all need to see that. So Southwest Airlines will now require plus size passengers to pay up front for an extra seat. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. People are always like, oh, you can't fat shame. Making someone buy 2 seats is, fat shame and fat phobic and all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, it just makes sense. If you use 2 seats, you pay for 2 seats. If you're too fat to fit on a plane, that's nobody's fault. That's not the people who run the plane's fault. They aren't required to accommodate you. If you're too fat to fit in a car, you don't get to sue Uber, like that rapper did and lost. No way should a private business have to cater to you because you're too fat to fit inside. I mean, if the only thing you can fit in is a hanger, and I don't mean like a coat hanger, I mean like a plane hanger, well, then it's not the rest of the world's problem. I mean, everybody should be courteous to you and not be mean to you, but if you don't fit, you don't fit. It's not their fault. They don't have to rebuild their planes. They don't have to design cars that can handle 600-pound people. No, if you're 600 pounds, it's up to you to find a car that can handle a 600 person if you can actually drive. But it's not up to every person to have a car that can handle you. Let's just say that. I don't like the whole idea that it's discrimination when someone doesn't fit. Let's see here. I've lost my place. So, I think I was doing the emails, and that was all of them, I think. Oh, no, we got one more here from Go Shadow. He sent a picture of the flathead V8 in my 1954 door custom. Had 2 water pumps, one on each side. Crushed motorhome guy thought he knew how to build. He didn't. I like the truck in the background. I'd like to have that right now. I'll take that. I like having that truck. My sister's got the truck right now because we got her Subaru working on it. So she got my truck. She's got old Big Blue, the Big Blue Whale. So I don't have my truck. But luckily we have the Maverick now, so we don't need the truck as often. The other truck's just for garbage and stuff now, which is what it was basically for to begin with. It doesn't have air conditioning, so you don't want to drive in the summer. The only time we drive in the summer is go to the dump because we don't have garbage service. We don't get garbage service up here. We can get garbage service. They will come to the road out here, but that would mean that I would be responsible for getting my garbage cans or my garbage from my bins out here a quarter mile down the road to get them picked up. I'm not carrying my garbage a quarter mile. If I'm going to load it in the truck, I might as well just take it to the dump and not pay the monthly fee. Because it's cheap to take it to the dump. It's like $60 a month to get it picked up. If I go to the dump twice a month, it's $35, $40. And I don't even go twice a month. So it's cheaper to just do it myself. You didn't show the other photos. Did I see any other photos? I didn't see any other photos. Oh, there are more photos. Hold on. Let me try to reshare that. Let me get it back open here. I only saw the one photo. The others hadn't loaded yet when I looked the first time. There's the bonnet up, they would call it. The bonnet. There's the wooden dash. I don't think that's OEM for the time period. Even though it's a kit car still, if you're going to try to make it traditional, I don't think that goes there. Stereo. That's a weird distributor position. I see, now there's where they are more like it. I'll take that. But that I don't want. No, that's a smashed mobile. That's what he was talking about, crushed mobile home. I guess the person didn't know how to build a enclosure is what he was saying. All right, now it makes more sense. I didn't know what he was fucking talking about before. I just read it and went, whatever. I don't know what he was talking about. But that was Ghost Shadow. He said, no, you didn't show the other photos. All right. Now let me get to the regular chat questions. We don't got long. We got to start the shooting the shit here in just a minute. So hopefully we'll be able to get right into shooting the shit. So if you want to weigh in on shooting the shit, you can weigh in now. If you're watching this live, you can weigh in now via the PayPal super chat link, and you will get entries for every $5 into the knife drawing for tonight. We're giving away the SRKC, a very nice new knife from Cold Steel, which was donated by Daniel Pennant, who I hope he's got another job now, or else he's just living off his girlfriend, being a trophy husband or boyfriend. Let's see here. Let me get over here, see if I see anything. I can't go all the way back up, but I can see what we got here. Why are there no manufacturers that make a double action, single action, lever action? Seems like a good feature for double action, single action, lever action. Okay, I'm just going to let that one sit because that one's making my head hurt. I think I'm missing something. What happens when they decide booze is bad for you if you purchase it? You shouldn't have guns. Well, they'll do the same thing they do with marijuana. They'll be like, are you a chronic user of alcohol? If so, we're going to put you on a list. You can't buy guns. And do we believe you're a chronic user because we found on your credit card statements when we subpoenaed them or just took them that you bought wine 3 times in a month? That violates. We only let you buy it once. You don't have parties 3 times a month. In Lindsay, Ontario, Canada, Jeremy McDonald has been charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon after cops say he used a knife during a confrontation with a home invader. That's backwards thinking. If it's the whole story, I'd have to know the whole story. But yes, some passengers take up 3 seats. Some passengers, they just can't fit. There's just no way. Now, some of them, it's not their fault, like Andre the Giant. But most of them ain't Andre the Giant. Most of them are just giant fat ass, usually fat ass women. Fat ass men usually have a sense of like, I'm not going to get on the plane. Women, I don't know what it is about fat women. They feel like they're entitled. Your thoughts on bolt action shotguns? Innovative and serve purpose, or creative but useless? A bolt action shotgun? I mean, why would you want it? Why wouldn't you want a pump? But I mean, I guess if you didn't want a pump, like you were setting it up at a bigger platform, so like you could shoot slugs, out of a kind of a tripod gun or something, well, then it would make kind of sense. But otherwise, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense. Now, it makes sense when you have like lever action 1911 or AR-15s and stuff, because that overcomes the laws against them, etc. But yeah, I don't really know what the point of that would be. Canadian citizens have to jump through 10 legal hoops and wait 5 years to get a firearm if they're allowed to own a gun. I don't think that's exactly true, but it's not much of an exaggeration. Pam Bondi is what Carol Ann from Poltergeist would have looked like if she hadn't died so young. Possibly. Do we know she actually died? Maybe that is Pam Bondi. Maybe she just didn't want to, she wanted to escape the fame. Hi, the Yankee Marshal. It's funny to hear how much President Trump bothers you. If President Trump doesn't bother me, it's the people that give him a pass when he does things that are in violation of our Second Amendment rights. Those are the people that bother me. The people that sit back and excuse it because of who's doing it, because he can do no wrong in their eyes. And that shows me they're weak-minded people following their, glorious leader. They should just move to fucking North Korea or something, because their mindset doesn't belong here in America. That's for sure. We got enough stupid people. We don't need more stupid people. You are right. That's question to that. New York City drug rehab centers are congested with long waiting lists full of people with cannabis use disorder. So that affects the discussion of potheads owning guns. Not really, because that's really not true. There's not a lot of people that are in line for rehab for marijuana. Usually there's people that have other issues too, or people that have chronic health issues that smoke marijuana. Marijuana itself, if used responsibly, is not going to give you any problems. If you overdo it, yeah, of course, anything. You eat too many Twinkies, you can have problems. But yeah, there's no real medical available data. I still check the research all the time on marijuana. Even though I'm not an active psychologist anymore, I still check the data quite often. There's been lots of correlation shit that people put out. Lots of correlation shit. Like, people who smoke marijuana are 3 times more likely to have mental health disorders. And they try to portray it like smoking marijuana causes you to be 3 times more likely to have a mental health disorder, when that's the actual reverse of the facts. The facts are, if you have mental health disorders, you're far more likely, many times more likely, to use marijuana as a form of self-medication, because you can't afford real medication to deal with your anxiety, your mental health issues. So they'll take something that's already well known, and that's that people that do have anxiety issues, mental health issues, marijuana is a cheap therapy that helps them. You talk to people who have anxiety issues that smoke marijuana. They'll tell you, I don't get high on it. It just helps me not be in a panic mode all the time. Or people that have chronic pain. I don't get high on it. It just keeps me not being in chronic pain all the time. And they'll take that information, something we already know, that people in those situations are probably 10, 12 times more likely to use marijuana regularly. And then they'll try to find something like, and then they'll try to represent it like, people who smoke marijuana are more likely to have mental health issues, because we already knew that, but it's the opposite of the way you're portraying it. I'm not defending President Trump with today's topic, but it's funny how President Trump really bothers you. President Trump doesn't bother me. It bothers me when he does things like this that are anti-Second Amendment. That bothers me, and that should bother anybody. And if it doesn't bother you, you have to ask yourself, Are you just not bothered because it's President Trump? I'm bothered because a politician is trying to take away our Second Amendment rights and lying, saying he's trying to protect our Second Amendment rights while he's stabbing us in the back. I don't give a fuck who he is. I don't care if it had been Biden or Kamala Harris or whoever, Gavin Newsom, whoever was doing it. I would find it to be offensive. And now it's Trump doing it. It isn't that it's Trump doing it that is bothersome. It's what Trump's doing that's bothersome. And it would be bothersome if anybody did it. And if you have to link it to Trump, that shows that you have a desire to defend Trump even when he's wrong. And if I was you, I would do some self-evaluation and see, why do I feel the need to defend this guy while he's doing something disgusting? Why do I feel the need to defend him when someone brings up he's been convicted of sexual assault? Why do you feel the need to defend him on that? If someone brings up the fact that, he might be on the Epstein list, why do you immediately leap to defending him on that? If it was any other politician, you would swallow it hook, line, and sinker. If someone said Joe Biden was on the Epstein list, you'd be like, I knew it. But because it's Trump, you're like, So there's the bias right there. There's the person who's bothered. They're bothered when Trump's not perfect. And they know they can't criticize him and still have him be on their side. He does not take criticism. He does not, like when most presidents win, they'll be like, now that the election's over, no matter who you voted for, we all have to work together. Trump is very much, if you didn't vote for me, fuck you. And he said out loud in conferences, I care about the people who voted for me. That's it. So, that if you in any way do anything, even if you just question something he's doing wrong, hoping that he'll change what he's doing, you'll be ostracized. And the Trumpers will jump all over you. So that's a pretty poor situation. What happened? You don't do the blooper reels. Those were hilarious. Is 10 millimeter still the best millimeter? Well, yes, 10 millimeter is best millimeter. Well, that's like a 50 millimeter. But I do them when I have a lot of bloopers. I haven't had a lot of bloopers lately because I haven't been doing anything intense or serious, or I haven't had time to edit the bloopers in. I mean, there's been a few bloopers, but I only do it if it's been, if it's an egregious amount of bloopers. And lately, I haven't been doing a lot of videos. If you want to see the bloopers, you come to these live. The other day, I had to start the America Guns and Freedom chat 4 times. And each time I got pretty good into it before I fucked up and had to start over again. So the bloopers are still around. They're just mostly in the live chats now. Because that's what I've been posting mostly lately. It's just the live chats. I haven't been doing a lot of extra work. I've got burnout. And my health ain't been great. So dealing with that more than I am other stuff. Trump has been wrong on guns several times with the bump stocks, the take the guns first BS and other stuff. Anyone who defends him on the second is a moron. I kind of agree. I mean, I'm not saying someone can't change what they're doing. If Gavin Newsom stood up and said, you know what, I've been wrong on guns and they are essential to the freedoms of American people. And they're the only way they can keep from being run roughshod over by the government. So I'm going to start supporting them. Well, I'd be like, well, good for Gavin Newsom. But then he'd have to show me that he's going to do it. Trump's been anti-gun, and he always says he's going to be pro-gun, but then he never shows you. So he's no better than Gavin Newsom as far as I'm concerned. People be like, well, yeah, he's better than Kamala Harris would have been. Well, really? How? What did Kamala Harris and Biden do during their administration that's worse than what Trump's doing right now? I'm not saying they wouldn't have done the same thing. They probably would have. But how was anything that they actually did do worse than what Trump's doing right now? Trying to maintain the right of the government to deny you your Second Amendment rights over an arbitrary thing like smoking marijuana. That just means you don't have a right. If they can arbitrarily take it, it's not a right. Where are we at? Joe Santiago where's Joe? How do you feel about the M18 being returned to service by the Air Force? They should. There's nothing wrong with them. Somebody murdered somebody through neglect and then tried to blame it on the gun. And of course, the community jumped all over it because right now they're making dollars. slamming the gun. Not just from views and other things like that, but because their agencies want them to slam the gun. Because they get money from places like the Bloomberg Group and the Giffords Group. Some of these companies that pay gun channels and provide commercials for them, sponsorship for them, through back doors, they're being funded by things like the Bloomberg Group and the Giffords Group. And I know that for a fact. I've spoken to someone who has the receipts on the other side of the aisle. So, yeah, they're funding them. They tried to fund me because they thought I might be sympathetic to some of their ideas. I said, no, thank you. I'm not sympathetic to your ideas. Yes, I am very socially liberal. But when it comes to the Constitution and the Second Amendment, I am very, 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 very literal and conservative. So I'm not sympathetic. Where are we at? I think we're done because we are out of time. We're going to be late as it is. I will cover one thing. It says that pro wrestler that was savagely beaten in the ring has fractures to his facial bones and has got at least 10 teeth knocked out. I think he should sue the wrestling promotion. He should sue the promotion. He should own the promotion because that was ridiculous. The promotion putting this loose cannon asshole in the ring with the guy and also kind of encouraging him to be amped up and then not explaining to him that Django's barking, not explaining to him that, what he did to you outside, that was work. That's what we do. That's part of the act. So that the people that were watching out in the parking lot waiting to come in think, oh, look, they got heat. And that's why you're going to jump in the ring later because of what happened out there. And you could tell it was a work when he hit him with the can. I mean, he puts his hand up, blocks the can, squeezes the can so liquid comes out of it when he hits him on the side of the head, supposedly. The guy's head doesn't even move. He was just offended. He was disrespected. He's tired of being called a bitch by everybody. So he's a fucking loser. He's an 0-1 MMA fighter who just happens to have a famous dad who has an attitude problem. Even his own dad said he's a disappointment. And, yeah, he should go to jail and the promotion should lose everything they have. 100%, I believe that. But with that being said, we're going to move on here and we're going to move on to the shooting the shit with Yankee. Remember, if you want to weigh in for the shooting the shit, go ahead and do it right now. You got right until we start. Actually, you can do it as we're doing it, but please go over and do it now. Otherwise, I want to thank everybody who weighed in today, kept the conversation rolling, people who donated to the Pets and Vets Fund and the other charities we run. People who watch my videos, hopefully you're thumbing them up if you watch them. If you're not thumbing up my videos while you watch them, shame on you. But go watch them, thumb them up. I could use it. I lost a bunch of subs over the last couple of days. How much have I lost today? Well, we'll get into that another time. Because of the 2 Trump videos where I dared challenge Herr Trump, his judgment. But like I said, thanks everybody for everything you do. It's appreciated. I'll see y'all again tomorrow, and I'll see you here in a few seconds when we do shooting the shit. But till then, remember, always carry and stay safe till I see you again.